NBA and the Indiana Fever did not want people to know that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for the season. I can tell you, from the very day that they decided to let that go public, everything has dropped off a cliff.
The WNBA has officially entered circus territory. Ratings are plummeting, ticket sales are nosediving, and suddenly the Indiana Fever are being shuffled over to Atlanta. Let's be real, it's less of an invite, more of a mandate, and all of this chaos triggered by Caitlin Clark being sidelined. The league may have hoped fans wouldn't catch on, but guess what? They noticed. Big time. Now the cracks are showing for everyone to see. Here's the big question. Would the WNBA even make it through a season without Caitlin Clark? Drop your take in the comments, because let's face it, this situation is looking rough. The desperation is obvious. The numbers say it all. As soon as the news broke about Clark's season-ending injury, fan interest didn't just dip, it fell off a cliff. 1 week, arenas were packed, ESPN couldn't stop bragging about historic viewership, and fans were driving hours just to catch Indiana play. Fast forward to now, rows of empty seats, applause that feels forced, and TV ratings that could pass for late-night reruns instead of primetime sports.
People were trying to hang on to the possibility this whole time. Look, so many people stayed engaged with the team because they thought the cavalry was coming. She's coming back. We're going to have a fighting chance to win the WNBA championship. The Indiana Fever and the WNBA, they knew this.
And now the league thinks the answer is to ship Indiana's games off to Atlanta. Atlanta? Really? As if swapping arenas is going to magically solve the fact that their biggest draw is gone. That's not strategy, that's panic. Let's back up. When Caitlin Clark was healthy, the WNBA struck gold. ESPN couldn't get enough of her. Every highlight went viral, and her games pulled viewership numbers this league hasn't sniffed in years. Millions tuned in. The Fever weren't just another team, they were the show. Every road trip felt like a home game because fans followed her everywhere. But here's the ugly truth. The WNBA and the Fever front office knew she wasn't coming back. They kept that under wraps. They let fans hold on to false hope, dangling the idea of a playoff return. Why? Simple. Because they knew once the truth dropped, the hype would collapse. And collapse it did. Just look at Baltimore. Nearly 3,000 people who had already bought tickets didn't even bother showing up. Think about that. They paid, they had seats, and still walked away. That's not just a lack of interest. That's fans feeling straight up duped. They thought they were getting Caitlin Clark. Instead, they got a watered down product. WNBA Lite with no refunds attached.
But before Caitlin Clark's season-ending injury, WNBA tickets were averaging $89. The moment she went down, price crashed nearly 30%, plummeting to $62 a seat. That's kind of crazy. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but obviously the biggest reason is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark literally being out, and again, she's only on one team, but a very big chunk of the total attendance in WNBA is from the Indiana Fever.
Now we've got ESPN out here acting like everything's sunshine and rainbows. They keep flashing record growth and best averages in decades like that tells the whole story. Let's be real, it doesn't. Those surges? That was Caitlin Clark. The viral highlights? That was Caitlin Clark. The reason casual fans tuned in at all? Yep. Caitlin Clark. Take her out of the picture and suddenly you're staring at a so-called marquee matchup pulling in 90,000 viewers. That's not primetime sports, that's YouTuber livestream territory. Honestly, some high school state tournaments pull bigger crowds, but instead of admitting reality, the league keeps marching around like nothing's wrong. Here's a spoiler for them. The sky isn't clear, it's caving in.
Moving arenas. So yeah, a lot of teams, whether it be the Lynx opening the upper bowl, whether it be the Wings, the Dream, the Sky, all of these teams moving games. All of these teams are moving games for the Indiana Fever, regardless of who it is. They all have to sell those seats. And a lot of people don't want to go, and it's super cheap. Like, it's a lot easier to fill a 10,000 seat arena without Caitlin Clark than to fill 20,000. So you're going to have to find a way to do it anyway, which is what a lot of people are going to be doing, trying to sell tickets. The seats for the playoffs, I would say the Indiana Fever playoff seats would have been, honestly, like nearly $1,000 in. I actually think had Caitlin Clark been playing, it would be nearly $1,000 into this game.
This is Kathy Engelbert's worst nightmare. She bet the house on the idea that the WNBA could expand beyond one player. Except now, it's painfully clear that one player is the league. Without Clark, the WNBA isn't trending, isn't buzzing, isn't even in casual conversation. And here comes the most laughable part, moving Indiana Fever games to Atlanta. Oh yes, because nothing screams, we believe in the strength of our league, like uprooting a team to squeeze out extra ticket sales in a different market. Do they think Atlanta fans are just going to magically care about Indiana without Clark? Are they handing out free hot dogs with each seat? The math doesn't add up. This is nothing new, by the way. We've seen this before. Remember when the NBA tried propping up certain markets for TV deals, regardless of whether fans cared? It backfired then, and it's backfiring now. You can't fake demand. Fans either care or they don't. And right now, without Caitlin Clark, they don't.
People felt like they were going to games thinking this team would have Caitlin Clark coming back to make a championship run. I mean, the perfect example, the game in Baltimore the other day with the Mystics. Nearly 3,000 fans decided not to show up, and they paid for the ticket.
Let's talk numbers. Before the injury announcement, Fever vs. Sky with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese pulled 2.7 million viewers. That's bigger than some primetime MLB games. After Clark went down, Fever vs. Mystics dropped to 270,000. Fever vs. Lynx barely scraped past 1 million in the so-called big markets like New York and Vegas. They aren't moving the needle either. A'ja Wilson is elite, no doubt, but if casual fans don't know or care, that's reality. And believe me, the players see it too. They notice the half-empty arenas, the online silence, and the way ESPN suddenly stopped blasting their highlights. Angel Reese went from media darling to sulking on the bench in the span of weeks. Teammates are throwing shade, teams are getting tense, but deep down, everyone knows those checks are fatter because Clark exists. Without her, the money shrinks. Here's the truth, the WNBA tied its whole relevance to one player, and the second she went down, they hit the panic button. Moving Indiana's games to Atlanta? That's not a solution. It's smoke and mirrors. Atlanta isn't a hotbed for WNBA crowds. Their own team struggles to fill seats. So now you're dropping a starless Indiana roster into that market and expecting magic. Come on. The only real reason is optics. The league doesn't want cameras panning across rows of empty chairs in Indiana, so they shuffle tickets, comp seats, and hope the TV broadcast doesn't look like a funeral. Fans aren't buying it. They see through the illusion. Remember Baltimore? Nearly 3,000 paid ticket holders just skipped the game. That's not apathy. That's fans saying no Clark, no thanks. The dependency problem couldn't be clearer. Caitlin Clark isn't just another star, she's the oxygen tank. Pull her out and the whole room goes silent. The WNBA can try to hype Reese, Wilson, Stewart, Collier, great players, but without Clark, their games are drawing 130,000 viewers, maybe 200,000 if ESPN shoves it down hard enough. That's not the future, that's a warning sign. Sports run on stars. The NBA survived Jordan leaving because they had Shaq, Kobe, Iverson lined up. The NFL moved from Brady to Mahomes. MLB had Bonds, then Jeter, then Ohtani. Stars rotate, but the leagues prepare. The WNBA put all its chips on Clark without admitting it, and now the stage looks empty. So here's the million-dollar question. What if Clark isn't 100% next season? Do ratings nosedive again? Do they scramble to move more games into neutral markets? Or do they finally admit the obvious, that without her, this league runs on fumes? They had a golden chance. Clark gave them viral clips, sold-out arenas, and a spotlight the WNBA hasn't had in decades. Instead of building around multiple stars, they milked one player dry. Now with her sidelined, the cracks are showing everywhere. Fans won't stick around out of pity. If your product only matters with one name attached, then own it. But don't insult people by pretending otherwise. This Atlanta stunt? It's the test. If the games flop, the league has no cover. If they manage a sellout, it'll be from freebies, not demand. Either way, the desperation is obvious. The WNBA can deny it, ESPN can spin it, but the receipts are loud and clear. Caitlin Clark is the sun. Without her, the league is in the dark. So there it is, the panic, the spin, and the scramble to keep fans from noticing the collapse. Spoiler, we noticed. The WNBA looks lost without Clark. If you agree, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more no-filter sports takes.